Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes.
Walmart is facing a class action lawsuit accused of misleading customers who bought organic eggs. Reuters is reporting a federal lawsuit filed claims the retail giant sold eggs under its organic MarketSide brand with packaging that said the eggs came from hens with outdoor access. Well, the lawsuit says those birds are raised by Cal-Maine Foods, Inc. inside enclosed structures that have screens to let the air in, but no outdoor access as the packaging claims. And the complaint says customers paying more for these eggs are being deceived. Reuters reports Walmart says it had not reviewed the specific allegations yet, but released a statement saying, "We hold our suppliers to high standards and are committed to providing our customers the quality products they expect." Americans now have more credit card debt than ever, and if you're one of them, your payments could be getting higher. The Federal Reserve said this week that revolving credit, consisting mostly of credit cards, rose to a new record of $1.023 trillion. In the past year alone, it increased 5.7%, or over $55 billion. Non-revolving credit also rose to $2.8 trillion. That consists mainly of auto and student loans. In all, Americans now owe more than $3.8 trillion. Some say that's a good thing. People are willing to spend money, which is a sign of a strong economy. Surveys show consumer confidence at its highest levels in 17 years. But other experts are concerned it may be a warning sign. Delinquent payments on credit cards also went up last year to 7.5%. The Federal Reserve is set to raise interest rates later this year. That additional interest could drive up minimum monthly payments and add more debt. One analyst said people should make 2018 the year they focus on knocking down their credit card debt. Well, some of us just got another New Year's resolution.
First responders are working to rescue survivors of the deadly mudslides in California. Rainstorms this week carried huge waves of mud down hillsides and into homes, roadways, and cars. At least 15 people have died, and more than 160 have been injured in Santa Barbara County, northwest of Los Angeles. Residents in the area told Fox News what it was like to have mud sweeping through their homes.
The neighbor right across the street, the mud and water came right through her wall, knocked her wall down, and the mud came straight through. There was a lady staying at her house, and that lady got washed to the other side of the living room.
It is the exact same area that just weeks ago was devastated by the largest wildfire in California's history. What happened is the flames destroyed vegetation on the area's mountainsides and created conditions that let rain carry rocks and mud downhill at about 20 miles an hour. Firefighters worked for 6 hours to save a 14-year-old girl trapped under the remains of her home. A bleak image. She told reporters, "I thought I was dead there for a minute." The mud crashed onto freeways and roads in the area, trapping vehicles and some motorists. Those who could be found had to be airlifted to safety.
The mudslide comes out of nowhere, out of the bushes here, and it comes out 3-4 seconds and hits my car, pushes me over 3 to 4 feet, almost against the railing.
The same area, ravaged by fire, is now praying that the rain doesn't come back. Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend of mine, Nicole Pedalides. Nicole, I'm hearing big things about Amazon's Alexa.
That's right, Richard. Alexa will soon be available in some Toyota and Lexus cars as early as this year, with more models available in 2019. Drivers will be able to get directions, control their entertainment, and command their smart home while on the road. Attention, Microsoft users, the company has issued a statement saying that fixes for security flaws from Intel chips may significantly slow some servers. The company says that not all servers are affected. To give you an idea of how big this problem is, Intel chips are in more than 90% of laptops and 88% of desktops sold. Could 2018 be the year we begin to see a robot workforce? Jack in the Box CEO seems to think so, saying, quote, "It just makes sense to swap cashiers for robots this year."
Nicole, is there any particular reason for this bold statement?
It comes down to wage bumps. 18 states across the United States will see an increase in the minimum wage this year. California, where Jack in the Box is based, will see it go up to $11. It's on pace to be the first $15 wage state in the coming years. More Top 30 when we return.
Michael Douglas has come out with a preemptive denial to a sexual harassment claim by a woman that worked for him 32 years ago. He admits that he may have used raunchy language in front of her, not to her, while having private phone conversations. But he flat out denies the unnamed woman's accusation that he pleasured himself in front of her, calling the allegation a complete lie. And it just snowed in the hottest desert in the world. The rare phenomenon blanketed snow on the sand dunes of the Sahara Desert following an intense storm. Now, check out this principal in Kentucky using a Mariah Carey tune to tell his students school is canceled for the day because of a snowstorm.
The school is canceled for today. Go back to bed and go out and play.
What a way to deliver good news. Richard, I hear you have some interesting news about a new museum.
That's right, Kristen. An exhibit celebrating some of the biggest flops ever is now open in the United States and drawing a lot of attention. It is called the Museum of Failure, and it started in Sweden. It's now opened up in Los Angeles, and there are plans to have it travel around the United States. The museum has more than 100 exhibits. Do you remember Google Glass? Never caught on. Just like Oreo's attempt at Peeps, candy corn and waffles and syrup flavors, and Colgate's weird attempt at unveiling a line of beef lasagna dishes. The curator says the museum was created because a lot more can be learned from failure than from success. It is too soon to say whether the Museum of Failure will one day find itself in the Museum of Failure.
Time now for your Page 6 fix. Let's check in with Elizabeth Wagmeister. Elizabeth, what's going on?
Well, Kristen, the holidays are over, but we know what your favorite stars were up to. First up, Katy Perry may still have bad blood with Taylor Swift, but it seems that she and her former flame Orlando Bloom are still on good terms. Despite breaking up over a year ago, the two are apparently good friends. They were recently spotted vacationing in the Maldives together. Next up, Paris Hilton got an unexpected surprise while vacationing in Aspen, Colorado. Her boyfriend Chris Zilka proposed to her on the slopes. And get this, she's rocking a giant $2 million engagement ring. But don't expect her to be a bridezilla. When asked about wedding planning, her mom, Kathy Hilton, said she's easy. Now, last but not least, Lady Gaga is giving us serious body goals for 2018. Never one to shy away from the camera, she posted pics from her relaxing vacation in Costa Rica. Clearly not afraid to show off her toned assets. Looking good, girl. And that's this week's Page 6 Fix. See you next time.
Thanks, Elizabeth. For more news and gossip, watch Page 6 TV weekdays. Check your local listings. Anyone who's ever owned a puppy will tell you how much nurturing it takes to end up with a best friend who's super well behaved. Which is why some U.S. companies are starting to offer employees paternity leave, or paid time off to take care of their new pup. Paternity, like its human counterpart, maternity and paternity, will allow dog owners to ensure their four-legged friend is appropriately trained and loved. According to the Wall Street Journal, Laurel Pepino says, "A pet is just another member of the family. We don't discriminate just because they aren't human." In addition to time off for a new pup, many pet-friendly companies also offer pet insurance, adoption consulting, and bereavement leave. And with more and more millennials opting to have fur babies, this is a benefit many people would love to have. Thanks to some researchers trying to cure Alzheimer's, you may no longer need to have your teeth drilled to fix cavities. Scientists from King's College in London discovered tideglusib, an experimental Alzheimer's drug that also makes tooth matter regrow over cavities. Initially, tideglusib was being used in clinical trials as a neurological drug for Alzheimer's patients because it encourages brain cell growth. But the pill also initiated tooth stem cell growth, which caused dentin, the part of the tooth made of calcified tissue, to regrow and repair damage. According to Motherboard, when the King's College researchers applied tideglusib directly to cavities, the tooth repaired itself without any need for drilling or filling. A pain-free alternative to drilling cavities? Sign me up.
A federal judge temporarily blocked a controversial Trump administration decision impacting about 700,000 immigrants. The White House planned to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, or DACA, in March. It is a program enacted by President Obama that allowed undocumented immigrants who came to the US under the age of 16 to apply for deportation protection. The judge said the Trump administration's decision to end the program was arbitrary and capricious and based on a flawed legal premise. The White House released a statement calling the ruling outrageous. The judge's decision came just hours after a televised bipartisan meeting in the White House where lawmakers discussed immigration reform, including DACA, and the proposal to build a wall on the Mexican border. It is very rare for an entire meeting at the White House to be televised. In it, the president appeared to say he supported comprehensive immigration reform and even a possible pathway to citizenship. But critics who watched the entire thing said his positions were unclear and contradictory, and he left many confused about where he really stands on DACA.
In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 29 Philadelphia, Brian Messick wasn't sure if he'd ever make it to his 19th birthday. But after struggling with addiction since he was just 13 years old, Brian has now been drug-free for almost 8 months.
And one day, something hit me. I called my parents and told them that I needed help.
Now, with a new lease on life, Brian is using his birthday to help others like him. He's raising money for Facing Addiction, a nonprofit that helps people in recovery. In our second story from Fox 26 Houston, during Hurricane Harvey, small boat owners became heroes when they rescued people caught in the floodwaters. And now they're finally getting the recognition they deserve. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner formally honored 18 boat owners for their selflessness.
I will tell you, the character of Houston was demonstrated in the region when people stepped up just like these heroes.
But these proud Houstonians weren't looking for glory. They said they were just doing the right thing. In our final story from Fox 46 Charlotte, a pastor in Rock Hill, South Carolina, is looking to boost childhood literacy by putting books in an unusual place, barbershops. C.T. Kirk and his wife Monique founded Books in Barbershops to encourage kids to pick up a book while they're getting their hair cut.
Reading increases, intelligence, it increases your thought process and your imagination.
And their goal is to get children's books in more than 10 local barbershops. From a distance, Fiona the hippo and Calvin Underwood might seem like they wouldn't have much in common, but they both share the struggle of being born prematurely. Fiona, who will be celebrating her first birthday this month, was born 6 weeks early at the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens. Her birth weight was 24 pounds less than the lowest recorded birth weight for hippos. But with around-the-clock care, she began to thrive. 4-year-old Calvin related to Fiona's story because it mirrored his own. Calvin was also born prematurely and struggled with health issues, but pulled through thanks to doctors at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. And recently the two got to meet, and when they finally came face to face, it was magic. Cincinnati Children's Hospital says they're fighters with a forever bond.
Ontario is experimenting with minimum wage, and experts think it's something that could transform Canada's economy. On January the 1st, the province hiked the hourly minimum wage from $11.60 to $14, which has traditional economists predicting the worst, but supporters say it will stimulate the economy by putting money into the hands of the country's lowest earners, who will, in turn, spend it. But Labour economist David Green said of the 21% increase, most economists, even economists on the left, are worried about how fast that is going up. Ontario is the perfect guinea pig to test out the increase because it's Canada's most populous and industrialised province. So experts should be able to predict that if it fails or succeeds there, the same will go for elsewhere in Canada. They are hoping the increase helps to narrow the gap between Canada's richest and poorest residents.
When 20-year-old Kieran Graham got an Ancestry.com DNA kit as a Christmas present from his adoptive mother, he didn't expect to find his long-lost brother. And the results he received via email said he was likely related to 29-year-old Vincent Gaunt. But Vincent turned out to be not only Kieran's long-lost brother, but it gets better. He was his classmate at Kennesaw State University. And we are so excited to have Kieran and Vincent on Skype right now to tell their just incredible reunion story. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
My mind is blown at your story. Kieran, it's definitely a pleasure. How did you find Vincent? Take me back to the beginning.
I messaged him and I was like, this is crazy, but I think you might be my brother. And I explained to him everything that had happened.
Oh my gosh. Vincent, so what did you think when this random guy contacts you on Facebook and said he was your brother?
I mean, I was weirded out initially because, I wasn't expecting that, especially after so long. But, as the conversation progressed, I finally came to that realization that this is my brother that I haven't seen in so long, and he's finally here, and he's contacted me, and he's found us.
So what would you guys say is the biggest thing you've learned from this whole crazy experience?
I think that I've learned that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, for me, it was, a family strong, a bond is very strong. After we've been separated for so long and it came together, it was just, magical, like he never left.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Top 30. Your story really is an inspiration to everyone looking for someone they've lost. It really gives hope to people, so thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, definitely.
A new report says that it can be more expensive to pay for childcare than a home. The Department of Health and Human Services recommends families spend no more than 7% of their income on childcare. According to a report by a non-profit called Childcare Aware of America, there is literally no state where that is possible. The cost of sending 2 kids to daycare is higher than the median annual rent in all 50 states. It's also higher than an average yearly mortgage in 35 states. The 5 least affordable states for infant daycare by percentage of median income for a couple are Oregon, California, Utah, Colorado, and Massachusetts. The high cost of childcare also leads to more parents staying home from work to care for their kids, which costs them even more. The Center for American Progress says Americans miss out on over $8 billion a year due to a lack of childcare. Childcare is expensive for everyone, but even more so for those in poverty.
A new survey reveals that a growing number of people think that leaving tips at restaurants should be eliminated. According to a poll done by the national restaurant review site Zagat, 43% of people no longer think tipping is necessary and would rather pay higher menu prices. Of the 13,000 diners polled, 33% hated the idea of ditching tips, with diners out of Miami, New Orleans, and Charleston disliking it the most. Interestingly, Philadelphia tips the highest, with an average of 20.3% on the check. Denver and Washington, D.C. followed closely behind with tip averages of 19.5 and 19.2%. So how does your tipping stack up? The national average is 18.1%.
A team of researchers have discovered that every processor chip made by Intel since at least 1995 can reveal sensitive information. Many of Intel's competitors, like AMD and ARM, are affected as well. Those chips are used in nearly every computer, as well as devices like phones, tablets, and TVs. The flaws are called Meltdown and Spectre. Both allow hackers to see information stored by a system's programs, like passwords or photos. Because they are built into those systems, attacks can't be seen by measures like antivirus programs. Tech companies that use the chips, including Microsoft and Apple, are now rushing to fix the issues with a variety of updates. Microsoft has released a software update, but said that users of Windows 7 and 8 machines with older chips will see slower performance. Security experts warn that because the problem is fundamental to so many devices, fixing it may take years. Amazon, Uber, and Toyota, some of the most innovative companies in the world, are now teaming up in an effort to change the transportation of people and products. The CEO of Toyota unveiled a self-driving electric concept vehicle called e-Pallet. He says there will be at least 3 sizes available with open interior layouts and flat floors. This will allow people to customize them according to their needs. The large vehicle will even have enough room for adults to stand up. The e-Pallet is expected to be on the road in time for the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, and testing in the US is set to begin shortly after that. There's been a lot of chatter about the race to get self-driving cars on the road, but experts say Toyota's car history, Uber's innovation, and Amazon's delivery strategy could be the game-changing partnership. Kristen, what's coming up on the next show?
Richard, we're talking about all of the new gadgets you can buy in 2018. We'll look at some of the year's newest products from the Consumer Electronics Show. Plus, the ultimate vacation for Game of Thrones fans. And the unbelievable story of a firefighter who saved a little girl's life twice. It's all coming up on the next Top 30.